What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Excellent clap. That one hurt. A few weeks ago, I released a video about the best rifle accessories for new rifle owners with the focus on keeping things budget friendly. The video did extremely well. It had thousands of views in the first couple weeks, and then YouTube deleted it on me. Grr. So I figured I'd make a similar video, but for pistol owners now, in the hopes that I could help some people, some new gun owners. You just picked up your pistol now, what do? If you're an experienced gun owner, a pistol owner, handgun owner, you may not get a lot out of this video. But what I'm gonna do is I have 10 different ideas, 10 different things that most new gun owners look at some point. So I'm gonna kind of talk you through all of them, tell you what I do and don't recommend. I have 3 tips along the way. And then down in the video description, there's gonna be a link that says, video build list, video build link, something like that. That's gonna take you over to my website. And on the website is gonna be links for every single thing I talk about. If I have any discount codes, any of that stuff will be over there. YouTube does not allow me to put that stuff in their comment section. That's why that rifle video got pulled. So the link to the website, all the links and codes are there. Now let's just get right into it. The first 2 are very obvious, but I want to talk you through them a little bit. Number 1, by far the most important, is get some training. Get some quality in training. I know it's not the sexiest thing, but I do think it is the most important thing on the list. Now, training is not going to the range and just putting holes in paper for fun. Training is not shooting watermelons or spray paint cans. All that stuff is fun. It's wonderful. You should absolutely go and do it. I do it from time to time. It's fun, but it's not training. Training is either taking a private lesson from a quality instructor, taking a group lesson from a quality instructor. If you have some good friends, you could come up with a bunch of drills to work on the specific skills and go to the range and work on those and critique each other. That works very well. That can work very well. A qualified instructor is not someone who brags about their NRA certification. That's not a quality instructor. So go to the range with purpose to train skills to improve yourself, because if you're ever in a deadly encounter, self-defense scenario, you're not going to be at your peak. You're probably going to be at your worst, so you need to raise your peak and raise your worst so you can survive a deadly encounter. That is most important. Number 2 is going to be ammo. Again, pretty obvious, but I'm always surprised at how many gun owners have 0 ammunition at their house. Not even self-defense ammo. Nothing at all. So you can either slowly stockpile some ammo, or if you can afford it, just go ahead and buy a whole case of ammo for whatever caliber that you have. Should be 9mm, but whatever caliber you have. You go to the range, you buy 2 boxes for the range, buy a third for storage, and bring it home if you cannot afford a case. On top of having some ammo stocked away, like I recommend, get 1,000 rounds, tuck it away, let it collect dust, just God forbid you have it there. But on top of the training range ammo, I also recommend you get some self-defense ammo, some hollow point, something that's going to be much better to carry than that inexpensive range ammo. And however much of that you buy, you need to make sure you have enough to fill the magazines of the gun you're using for home defense or concealed carry, and enough to test a few magazines through that gun, because it would be horrible to find out that those hollow points or that self-defense ammo you're using doesn't run well in your gun. And also when you're shooting, it's going to feel different. That self-defense ammo has a lot more of a kick to it than the cheap range ammo. So knowing what to expect can't hurt, but more importantly, make sure it runs in your gun. Once again, the link to the website. When you go to the website, I have several links of places that I like to buy ammo, pricing on ammo ranges, so hopefully I can find you a good deal. Number 3 is going to be some sort of white light, some sort of weapon light on your self-defense concealed carry gun. Bad things happen at night, and you shouldn't shoot what you can't see. God forbid you shoot something or someone that doesn't deserve it. Maybe it's a neighbor or a kid or coming in the whatever scenario it is. Don't shoot something you can't see. The thing is, if you put a white light on your gun, there's a whole series of training and tips and techniques you need to go along with it. So it's not just, I'm going to throw a light on my gun and I'll be good to go. No, how to use it correctly is very, very important. If you just leave the light on and walk around, you're like telling the bad guy, just giving him a beacon of where to shoot. Everything in the dark is a lot harder. So if you have a magazine or a malfunction or whatever you're doing, it's going to be significantly harder in the dark than it is in a well-lit area. So my go-to is Streamlight. Over the years, there's lots of good lights. Streamlight has become my go-to. There's a TLR 7 series of light, which is a bunch of different types that are a little bit smaller. So if it's a smaller concealed carry, micro compact, compact type gun, the TLR 7 is great. If it's something a little bit bigger, there's several different versions of the TLR 1. My favorite is the HPX. If you want a light a little bigger, a little brighter, those are my first go-to. The X300 from Surefire, that is a fantastic light. I prefer the controls on the new Streamlight over the controls on the X300, but the X300 is a fantastic, fantastic light. The compact versions of the Surefire, I've never been a fan of. I really like the TLR 7 a lot better. Olight. I really don't like Olight. I don't love their products. I don't love the controls. I really dislike their marketing and how they go to business. And they sell more lights probably than anyone else. They sell a ton. They're priced extremely well. I just have a personal thing against them, and that's why you don't see any Olight videos on this channel. That's why I don't allow them to send me anything or sponsor. It's a personal thing. Inforce is another brand that's going to be priced similar to Streamlight. So for some reason, if you don't like Streamlight, Inforce is another good option. The thing I want to warn you about is if you get a light on the gun, then you need to make sure you get a holster that's compatible with that light and that gun combo, obviously. And when you start going to less popular lights that can be or less popular guns for that matter, also that can be very difficult to get a holster that's compatible with your gun and your light. So before you purchase that light, make sure you can find a holster that's going to work with both. All right, first tip. My first tip is going to be Brownells. If you're not familiar, Brownells is like the Amazon of the pew pew world. They have been very, very good to me and my channel. They have great products, great deals, great people, more importantly. The code for them is Tiberious. If you spend over 150 beans, it saves you 10% on almost pretty much anything you get. So if you're looking for any of the things on the list, anything we're talking about, Brownells is a great place to start. And again, part of all those links that I'm putting on my website, there'll be lots of links to Brownells. All right, what is this? Number 4, I believe? Sure, it's number 4. We'll go with that. Number 4 is going to be optics or red dots, on your handgun. No debating. A red dot on a pistol will make you a better shooter than iron sights on a pistol. There's no debating. End of story. That's just the way it is. Even if you haven't figured it out yet. A red dot on a pistol, just like a red dot on a rifle, will make you a better shooter than irons. The trick is you have to spend a little bit of time and going back to training to make sure you can pick up that red dot every single time. That red dot's a little bright. You can pick up that red dot every single time you present without fail. If you spend that time to train your hand-eye coordination to be boom, boom, boom every single time, you will definitely be more proficient with the red dot on your gun compared to iron sights. I guarantee you, no different than a rifle. Now, as far as brands, there's a lot to this. We could do a video alone just on optics, but smaller guns like micro compacts typically take an RMSC footprint. When you go to larger guns, like a compact or a full size, you're either going to get an RMR footprint or a Delta Point Pro. So you really need to know what optic footprint your gun works with, and then you can figure out what optic to go to. I have become a very, very big fan of Vortex red dots. In the past, their previous ones, I didn't love them. The new Defender series is fantastic. The new Venom is fantastic as well if you want something more affordable. The Vortex red dots are in 3 sizes. The CCW are the small, ST is the medium, and the XL is the larger window one. The small CCW is the RMSC footprint. The ST and the XL are Delta Point Pro footprints. They have open emitters like this one. They have closed emitters. They have red dots. They have green dots if your eyes like one color better. They have black bodies. They have tan bodies. They have lots of good options. They've been working very hard on their red dots. Holosun has been very good for a long time. A little bit more expensive. Not Trijicon Aimpoint money by any means, but a little bit more expensive. And they have, once again, a great selection of very, very good red dots. I have dozens of Holosuns. I've had them for years. They're RMR footprints. So if your gun takes an RMR footprint, which is a little more popular, the Holosun may be the right choice for you. But they have, again, open emitters. They have closed emitters. They have solar fail-safes like the Defenders do now as well, like a solar backup. They have red dots, they have green dots, open and closed. They have the big windows, the regular, the micro compact ones, they have all of that. I also want to mention Gideon. If you're looking for something a little more affordable, that's far, far from junk. Gideon is going to be budget friendly, but still very good quality. The code for Gideon is Tiberious. Again, they have micro compact red dots like this, forgot the name of it. They have open emitters, they have closed emitters, they have normal size red dots, they have XL window red dots in both the small and the big. They have red dots, they have green dots, they have all that stuff if you want to. Not quite as big of a selection as Holosun and Vortex, but very, very good for the money. I gotta mention Trijicon. You can't talk about red dots without mentioning them. Now, they're definitely significantly more expensive, but they're made in the United States and they're probably the most durable red dots out there. They really started this red dot on pistol game. Holosun blew it up, but the Trijicon started it. So if you're looking for kind of the best made in America, Trijicon is definitely the way to go. All right, I believe this is number 5. Number 5 is going to be the NeoMag spare magazine carrier. Now, I have carried one of these long before I've worked for company. I do work for NeoMag, but I carried one of these for 5-6 years probably before I worked for the company. Actually, my second YouTube video I've ever made, which is an awful video, don't go watch it, but my second video I ever made was on the NeoMag spare mag carrier because I liked them so much. And we just came out with a new version. This is the Gen 2. Gen 2 is lighter, stronger, has a cantable clip so it sits better in pockets that are very slanted. And the big advantage is one NeoMag now works with Glock mags and Glock brand, not like Magpul mags, but Glock mags and steel mags. Before you needed one version of NeoMag for steel mags and a different for your Glock mags. We redesigned it so you don't have to do that anymore. The way it works is magnets in here that sticks to the magazine. The clip goes in your pocket so it looks like a pocket knife, but it's your spare mag. When you want to pull your spare mag out, you pull the mag and the little NeoMag adapter stays in your pocket. Simple as that. It's cool. It's great. I'm not a big fan of the sidecar holsters that go in the front. Just, it's a lot down there. I prefer to carry my spare mag in my pocket. That works for me. So there's 3 different sizes. The small is going to be for 380 mags, the medium is going to be for most 9 and 40, and then the large is going to be for most 10 millimeter and 45 ACP. There's also 2 different clip heights, the standard clip height and then the extended. The extended is obviously going to have the magazine sit a little lower. So if you have like a +2, +5 base pad, you may want to consider the extended. Or if you just want the magazine to sit lower in the pocket so nobody sees it, you can go with the extended. Obviously, the lower it sits, the more difficult it is to get out. So you do whatever you think works for you. And that leads me to our second bonus tip of the video, because I love you. I want to quickly talk about selecting a gun. If you haven't actually bought your first gun or your next gun and you're trying to decide what to get, take everyone's opinion with a grain of salt. I made the mistake when I first became a gun owner years ago, like, oh, I like this guy, I respect him, you know, he was in the military or a cop, or he's a good shooter and he carries and shoots a Glock 17, so I'm getting a Glock 17. And I got it and I said, this is awful. Let me get something, a Glock 19, something a little smaller. That was even worse because I didn't understand what I was doing. Then my next gun, I forgot what it was. But the first 4 or 5 guns I bought, I sold because even though they worked for this person, they weren't right for me. So if you can get your hands on a gun and shoot it, maybe your local indoor range has them for rent. If you can get your hands on it and shoot it, that is ideal. If not, at least try to get it in your hands and feel it. Typically, if a gun feels really good, if this gun feels better than this one, then the one that feels better is typically gonna work better, shoot better, just vibe with you better. So if you can get to the gun shop and fiddle it, or if a friend has one, whatever you can do, just know the smaller the gun, probably going to be more difficult to shoot. Like if I get a full-size Glock 17 or a full-size, Walther PDP like I had, and put it next to their subcompact version or like a P365, whatever, bigger guns are typically going to be easier to shoot, but more difficult to carry. Bigger the gun, the harder it is to carry, the more weight. So you're going to find a balance on what works for you between size, shootability, capacity, and all that. Mix it into a thing and figure it out. I have no idea what number we're on. I think it's 6. It doesn't matter. It's going to be a holster. A holster is a very, very personal thing. With even more so than a gun. What one person likes is going to be drastically different than what another person likes, between body type and carry position. And There's so much that goes into a holster. And very difficult for me to recommend one brand or one style. You really need to trial and error. Hopefully, again, borrow some from a friend and see what works for you and your body style. There's several things I don't want you to do. First off, don't skimp on a holster. You can get a good budget-friendly gun like Canik, PSA Dagger. There's lots of good guns that aren't terribly expensive. But when it comes to holsters, nothing gimmicky, nothing super cheap, nothing all nylon. Stay away from nylon holster. If it says Uncle Mike's or Urban Carry or anything gimmicky like that, just say no. All Kydex holsters are probably the best way to go, in my opinion. Good quality, good durability, great retention. The trigger guard is protected, most important. Hybrid holsters are great as well. Leather back, Kydex front. If you want to carry 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, that's the way to go, in my opinion. Again, but don't skimp. Get something good quality. A&R Design is probably my go-to favorite holster company. I've had several TXC holsters that have been very good. Who else did I have on the list? Havoc holsters, excellent. I have a couple of theirs. Falco holsters are wonderful. They are overseas in Slovakia, Slovenia. Forgot, I apologize, but they're making so many cool and unique holsters. They have actual carbon fiber holsters. They have regular good Kydex. They have tons of great leather holsters, but real carbon fiber, 3D printed holsters. They're doing so many cool things. And then Alien Gear has come a very long way. Alien Gear makes great holsters at a very affordable price. They have chest rigs and belly bands and inside and outside and modular holsters. Tons of great options if you want something a little more affordable without sacrificing quality. For Alien Gear, I do have a discount code. It's Tiberious. And then there's 2 quick NeoMag products I want to call out. One is the beltless, and the other is the hook and loop panel. These both now work. We have a universal version that will work with any holster. Any holster that has a 1.5-inch holster clip will work with these now. The beltless is it when you're not wearing a belt. So yoga pants for the ladies or yoga pants for the guys. I don't judge out loud. Scrubs, basketball shorts, sweatpants. Anytime you're not wearing a belt, this is the best way to carry your gun when you're not wearing a belt. 2 little clips that clip on to your waist. There's the beltless. You can get it with the bat strap, which you should absolutely do. The other one is the hook and loop panel. It's a Velcro panel. It goes inside of a bag. So if you want a bag carry, again, you need to have your gun in a holster and accessible. So this Velcros to the bag. Your 1.5-inch holster clicks into the adapter, and your gun is in the same spot every single time. Trigger guard still protected. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Can somebody tell me what number we're on? I think it's 7. We're going to talk about belts, specifically gun belts. I'm not cutting that out. We're rolling with it. If your gun belt can't do this, if it can't support its own weight, it's probably not a good enough belt for you to use for CCW. If your belt is sagging way down like this and it can't support its own weight, it's not thick enough, it's not strong enough to support the weight of your pistol and your holster and whatever else you're carrying. So you need to get a good gun belt. I know I talked a lot about NeoMag in this video, I'm sorry, but we have a great concealed carry belt. Couple different colors, bunch of different sizes, very comfy belt. I have it on right now. And it's the only belt I know of that allows you to go inside the waistband to outside the waistband with the same belt. So like in 10 seconds, you can take your inside the waistband off, put your outside the waistband on, and if you're at the range or switching over quick, it's wonderful. There's a lot to it. I have a whole video on it. I'm not going to explain it all now. This video would be an hour long, but very slick system. Another great option is Core Essentials. I have several core belts. Core belts are wonderful. They have nylon, they have leather. You can dress it up. You can wear it every day. Doesn't matter. The thing I really like about Core is their ratcheting system. A lot of companies have this now, but you can make very small micro adjustments. So if you're carrying different size gun, or if you had a big meal, or whatever the case is. Now they also came out with 1.25-inch belt that I just got in. And the 1.25, they're marketing it heavily towards ladies, which makes sense. Smaller belt loops on the lady pants, but I like it for dress. If I'm rocking a suit or a pair of dress pants, whatever, sometimes the 1.5-inch belt is tough to get in there, but the 1.25 is not. So I'm very excited for that. All right. This leads me to my third and final tip for you is dry fire. Dry fire is quadruple checking to make sure the gun is unloaded, and you're just pulling the trigger, practicing. You can practice just, I'm going to shoot that light socket, that sign, boop, 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 boop. And you're just practicing different skills of pulling the trigger, drawing from the holster, grip, magazine exchanges. You can practice almost anything you can at the range dry fire, and it builds good habits of making sure you get a good grip and a good trigger pull and so many other things that go along with it. I recently got pretty bored with dry fire, I'm not gonna lie to you. And then I found this, it's a dry fire mag. It allows you to pull the trigger over and over without having to rack the slide. So previously with dry fire, I pulled the trigger and then I racked the slide. And that's just, it's not realistic. It kind of defeats the point. So with the dry fire mag, you put it in. The first trigger pull feels weird, but now I can just pull the trigger over and over and it's very realistic. So if you want to go boom, 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 you know, you want to practice boom, 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 boom. sorry. Video's going off the rails here real quick. There'll be a link again. You go to the website. One of the many links down there will be a link to dry fire because I think it is pretty cool. Okay, the last three are gonna try to do rapid fire because I don't really think they're worth it, even though I see a lot of people do it. Number 8, I guess, is gonna be sights. Now, I don't think it's necessary to upgrade the sights on most guns, nor do I think upgrading the sights is going to make you a better shooter. I don't care if it's a big dot or a ghost ring or blah, 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 blah. Training is going to make you a better shooter, not your sights. A couple exceptions to this. If you have plastic sights on your gun, Glock, I'm talking to you, you should never have plastic sights on a defensive gun, in my opinion. Then you should definitely upgrade to a set of steel, metal sights, whatever. If you want night sights on your gun, if your gun doesn't have night sights and you want night sights, okay, both valid reasons to upgrade your sights. I love night vision. I think night vision makes the best sights, so at least take a look at them. Grip tape, some sort of grip tape. Now, I used to put Talon grips on all my guns because I thought it made me a better shooter, and I do like a very rough textured grip, like that M&P 2.0 grip. Anything really rough like that, yes, give it to me. I don't love the grip texture on a Glock. I don't think it's aggressive enough. Now, as I've become a better shooter through training and improved my grip, it doesn't really matter to me anymore, and I don't care if my guns are stippled. I don't put Talon grips on them anymore because I have a proper grip, and it doesn't matter as much anymore. But if you want to do that stuff, whether you want it to look good on the gram or you think it feels better to you, no problem, go for it. But I don't think it's necessary. Last but certainly not least, and I know I'm going to upset people with this, stop upgrading the trigger on your carry gun, on your home defense gun. Now, lots of people do it. Lots of people don't have issues. I get it. But if you're going to trust your life to this gun, potentially trust your life or your family's life to this gun, I think the people at Glock know more about triggers than whatever your favorite Glock trigger is. And I've seen plenty of Glock triggers fail, especially aftermarket ones. I've been at the range where I pulled the trigger and went pop pop on a Glock before, and every pop pop. I've seen other times where I pulled the trigger on a Glock and it went full auto. Fun, scary. Trigger bars breaking, springs breaking, whatever. A better trigger will probably make you a 2% better shooter if it's really good trigger. Again, proper training will probably make you a 200% better shooter. So spend the money on the training, not on the trigger. A couple exceptions. The M&P 1.0 triggers and the early M&P triggers were pretty rubbish. And Apex Tactical makes a fire trigger. So if you have an old M&P, that Apex trigger is extremely nice. Lots of good choices for Glock if you're dead set on upgrading your Glock trigger. Let me see if I can think of some. Agency, CMC, Timney. There's a lot of really good triggers out there. Again, I don't think it's necessary, but I don't think it's a good idea on a carry gun. But you do you, boo-boo. It's your world. All right. That is all I have for you. Hopefully, especially if you are a new gun owner, hopefully I helped you a little, gave you some information, directed you down the right path towards being an experienced gun owner. If you think I deserve it, why don't you subscribe to the channel? I appreciate it. Santa appreciates it. It doesn't hurt, but it definitely helps. Be good, stay blessed, stay hydrated.